Krispy Kreme and Dunkin' Donuts. Two different styles of donuts, two different styles of shops. What makes them so special? What makes them so successful not only here but all over the world? In this video, we are going to analyze and trying to understand the key of their success. It's not only about the flavor or the baking. It's also a matter of marketing, image, and most of all, values. So join us to know the secrets and the history of the two greatest companies of donuts in the world, Krispy Kreme and Dunkin' Donuts. What are our objectives in this research work? Well, Lulu Maguat, our professional in objectives about Krispy Kreme and Dunkin' Donuts, will expose them and talk about them in order to the viewer to understand better what this whole video is about. Come on!
Our research work aims to compare these two companies which belong to the same market, since both offer the same product, donuts. At first sight, they may look the same because both sell a similar product and both are multinational companies originating in the United States of America, but they are not. Therefore, each company is a direct competition of the other. Their potential consumers are the same, and day by day they compete for their position in the market. Our research requires obtaining the deep and necessary information of each company in order to compare, analyze, and conclude what makes them unique despite the similarities. We will analyze the story through the years, objectives, missions, and visions of each company. We will also investigate in detail each one to some each branches. We will interview employees, managers, and clients of the companies to know about their experiences, conceptions, and information that they know of each one. We want to know how they achieve their success, how they manage their companies to go from being local stores to being multinational companies. What are their qualities so that people prefer them, how they deal with their competition, how they have maintained over the time within the market and its privileged position. Also, we want to know why they are the best option for donut acquisition and what makes them stand out in the world.
Hi, we are here with our colleague Alejandro to talk about Dunkin' Donuts assumptions. Alejandro, thanks to be here.
Hey, it's a pleasure.
So tell me, when you hear about Dunkin' Donuts and this big company, what does it come to your mind?
I haven't seen a Dunkin' Donuts store in a long time here in Mexico. But when I go to Houston, in the United States, there's a Dunkin' Donuts store everywhere.
Yeah, it's really famous in the USA, this company. In Mexico, I think even it's going to bankruptcy, right? I'm not sure.
Yes, like the last time I tried Dunkin' Donuts here in Mexico, it was when I was a child. My mom used to bring a whole box of Dunkin' Donuts when she came back from work.
Yeah, it's the Dunkin' Donuts is not really present now in the national soil. The last time I was in one was 6-7 months ago, but so we can say that Dunkin' Donuts really highlights this childhood feeling that you were mentioning, but why is it a great success in USA and not here in Mexico?
I think because Dunkin' Donuts is more American style. Here in Mexico, it's more for special occasions. They do special donuts for some holidays, like Valentine's Day, Halloween, Christmas. You know?
Yeah, that's true. Dunkin' Donuts in the USA, it seems like everyday shop, an everyday donut. And here in Mexico, it's what you were mentioning, that a really special occasion, a really special product, and that's cool. But that reduces a lot the sales, because if it's not a product you buy every day, well, it becomes something very sporadic. Their sales.
Yeah, you know, like Dunkin' Donuts in the United States is like here, like when you have to eat something and for breakfast, like when you're in a hurry, like here when you buy like your tamales and atole, like just buy it and then go to your job or school, like that's like Dunkin' Donuts in America.
Exactly. Exactly. It's a very common product to eat for all the American people. And yeah, I think that's key to understand why Mexico is not really famous in um, comparing their success in the USA.
Yeah.
And personally, when you think when you eat a donut, how do you feel? What's the experience?
Like I mean, it's like just like a regular donut. Like what I can remember is like and I think about it is like the smell of the fresh donuts and the coffee. That's what's on my mind when I think about Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, I share your opinion and your view. And well, putting aside the product, what do you think about Dunkin' Donuts, but as a company, as an employer?
As an employer, like I mean, here in Mexico, they don't have like a lot of stores, but I think like in Mexico the situation is like they don't pay well. Like it doesn't matter where you work, you're not gonna be well paid here in Mexico. But in America, like you maybe you earn like 8 or 9 dollars an hour. I think that's fine.
Yeah, so you think that low wages and low salary are something characteristic here in Mexico?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's very true. Well, we have seen not only with Dunkin' Donuts, but with a lot of companies that in Latin America the salary reduces a lot. You know, yeah, they don't pay very well because well, it's after all we are in a country in development. We are not first world. But yeah, I think that's key also to understand Dunkin' Donuts as a company that they are after all part of the great American capitalism. Yeah, well, Alejandro, thank you very much for your views and ideas.
oh no problem. Like
Hi, I'm here with my colleague Eduardo to talk about Dunkin' Donuts and Krispy Kreme assumptions. Eduardo, thank you very much for your time.
No problem. I'm glad to be here.
So Eduardo, tell me, when you hear about Krispy Kreme and you think and you remember their image and all the company culture they have constructed here in Mexico, what do you think?
I think it's a very famous brand, but here it's just starting to make its own name because it just have been here for maybe 10 or 15 years.
Yeah, that's right. It's a very young company here in Mexico.
But in America, it's very famous and maybe one of the biggest brands in bread.
Yeah, we can't deny that Krispy Kreme is world famous. Even in Europe. But Latin America, it seemed that like really embrace the company.
They wanna, I think they want to transmit like the culture of
the
a
American
breakfast
donut.
with donuts,
Yeah,
eating donuts
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
from the United States.
Yeah, because more than just a donut company, it's like a medium between USA culture and the world. Krispy Kreme is like the company that says to the world, "Hey, America does it this way, and this is our flavor." And personally, I can't not think about USA when I think
Yeah, and it's
about
like
Krispy
a
Kreme.
role model in the ways of their production of donuts because no one else do donuts like them. They have industrialized it.
Yeah. That's
way
a
of
topic we are going to talk about in the Krispy Kreme history. But you are very right about that. It's like, and most of all, I think about Krispy Kreme like the American dream, the
Yes.
materialization of the American dream, because it starts in that way.
Do you imagine yourself in a nice place in America, taking a coffee and a donut?
Yeah, because coffee and donuts are the symbols of peace,
Yes.
of progress. Because people in the third world that are striking, are hustling for food, that hustles every day
Yeah, of
for
course.
survival. They don't have the time or the money to take a really nice cup of coffee and a donut, you know, and not especially with the Krispy Kreme prices.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think that represents.
I think, well, this case in Mexico happens that there are local coffee shops like, I don't know, like El Jarocho or La Parroquia, and they are a strong competitor to Krispy Kreme. They have to make their way through those competitors.
Yeah, that's the challenge with Krispy Kreme and Dunkin' Donuts that we are going to talk about further. That the Mexican bakery is not only Mexican bakery. It's culture. It's like
Yes.
I don't think personally.
It's a heritage from the
Yeah,
Spaniards and the indigenous and
And the
all those
colony.
cultures. Yes.
Yeah, and that's tough because, for example, I don't think there are a lot of Krispy Kremes in Paris. You know,
Yeah.
because Paris is the bakery's capital. So having that quality of local bakery, well, puts in a second-ranked product, Krispy Kreme donuts. You know, so it's a challenge with these enterprises here in Mexico, that the local bakery is very attached to the people.
Well, in my opinion, I love the national bakery. I love the conchas, the donuts, all the Mexican breads. But I think it's also good to have variety, the variety of the recipes of Krispy Kreme and Dunkin' Donuts. I think that's good.
Yeah, because well, we can, and I think anybody can't deny that Krispy Kreme donuts are delicious.
It's good to eat things different
Yeah,
sometimes.
sometimes, we in Mexico are characterized for the embracing of multicultural expressions and products. You know, so I think Krispy Kreme have found the way to introduce themselves in the Mexican market, but a lot of challenges are ahead. You know, and
Yeah, like
And well, Mexican bakery, even with 1,000 Krispy Kremes, will remain Mexican favorites for a long time. Eduardo, thank you very much for your
a
ideas.
pleasure.
Hi, I'm Aaron Gonzalez. I'm professional and expert in the Krispy Kreme studies, and I'm here to tell you about the history of Krispy Kreme and this enormous enterprise of donuts. Well, everything started in 1937 in South Carolina, Salem specifically, when Bernard Rudolph, an American citizen, starts his own bakery shop, grocery store in this city. But the famous recipe of Krispy Kreme donuts is not a creation of Rudolph. He actually bought it from a French bakery man called John Leboeuf. And he buy to him this recipe that, well, nowadays it's world famous. Well, with this recipe and only $25 in his pocket, he started his own store in South Carolina. And at the beginning, he only sold to big stores. You know, he didn't sell retail. He sold in a big number of donuts in a large request from other salesmen. But as time went by, people started to stop by the store because of the smell of the donuts, because it's very characteristic, this smell of Krispy Kreme donuts, and people started asking for a retail sale, you know, because a normal average consumer doesn't buy, I don't know, 100 donuts. He only wants one or two. So, given this demand and this popularity that his donuts took, he started selling retail through a hole he made in one of his walls on the local store. And that's how the first retail store in South Carolina of Krispy Kreme was founded by Rodolph and his team. Well, this was, like I said, in 1937. By 1950, a great breakthrough took place. Rudolph innovated the process making of the donuts. He started not only like bakery, like single by single donut. He started like a very process and mechanized system that allows him to produce a lot amount of donuts, and not only that, this helps to standardize the quality and the flavor of the donuts. And this mechanism has suffered a lot of changes along the years, but it's actually the same nowadays. Actually, in most of the stores, you can see it's one of the attractiveness of the company. You can see how the donuts are made. 23 years later of this amazing innovation and invention of Rudolph, Vernon Rudolph, the founder, died at the age of 73 years old. After he died, Krispy Kreme were left to his family, who, after a long of this legal dispute, decided to sell the company to Beatrice Foods, a big conglomerate food company in the USA. The seasons with Beatrice Food, the times when Krispy Kreme was part of this conglomerate, were very, very sad, were very unsuccessful years, because Beatrice Foods changed all the image, all the tradition and the culture of the Krispy Kreme donut, and this affected a lot of the company, because Krispy Kreme was by the time a really American icon. After 9 years as a part of Beatrice Foods conglomerate, Beatrice Foods decided to sell the company to Joe McCullough for a sum of $24 million. McCullough was the medium between Beatrice Foods and all the owners of the franchises of Krispy Kreme. After the company was sold, McCullough put the company in a completely process of renovation, a complete process of renovation and innovation in the brand. Most of all, McCullough wants to bring back the old Krispy Kreme that Beatrice Foods has altered and has manipulated with his strange policies. This was in 1982. By 1996, the first store outside of South Carolina was opened in New York. This was the beginning of the national expansion of Krispy Kreme in all the North American soil, and it was a really big success. And of course, this was the starting point for numerous opening stores in the years after. In 2000, Krispy Kreme was launched in the stock market in Nasdaq, and the initial offer was of $9.2. But in years after this, the company decided to move his stock from Nasdaq to the New York stock market. In 2015, 3 years later of this, Krispy Kreme opened his first stores worldwide, in London, England, and in Sydney, Australia. This was the beginning of the international expansion of Krispy Kreme. In 2004, Krispy Kreme arrived to Mexico, specifically in the state of Mexico, opened his first store. That was a huge success, and still is the only store in Mexico that produces his own donuts in the place. And finally, in 2015 was the year of the millennium for all the Krispy Kreme fans, because the company opened his store number 1000 in Kansas City, and it was a big success. It was a big event for all the Krispy Kreme fans community. And well, it was like a symbol of the success and progress that the company has been through since his foundation in 1937 in the hands of Vernon Rudolph, a dreamer and a struggler who believed in the good and delicious American donut.
we just got a global perception of the history of Krispy Kreme. Now I'm going to give you a Mexican view of this history. In order to put Krispy Kreme on the way, the company decided to associate with Grupo Axo, a Mexican investment firm that is a pretty big investment firm here in our country. Among the investors, they have names like Emilio Azcárraga, one of the wealthiest men in our country. Okay, this partnership established that Grupo Axo would participate with 70% of the capital. We're talking about $14 million, and Krispy Kreme will participate with the other 30% of the capital. We are talking about $6 million to make a total of $20 million. The partnership established a goal for the first 6 years that was 20 restaurants operating. This mission was led by Arturo Bernstein, the CEO of Krispy Kreme Mexico. By 2011, the company had 44 restaurants operating, and they established several alliances with other companies like Movistar, Liverpool, Banamex, Volaris, and other ones. What was the aim of these alliances? The aim was to get a distribution and collaborative sales strategy. What is this? For example, the alliance between Movistar and Krispy Kreme consists in Movistar send a text message with a promotional Krispy Kreme code to all his users so they can get a free donut. And the other alliances had strategies like this. Later in this same year, 2011, another investment Mexican firm, Nexus Capital, bought Krispy Kreme Mexico through his brand new business portfolio called Taco Holding. The quantity of money that moved in this transaction wasn't announced by HSBC, who was the one who gave formality to this acquisition. What is going on now in Krispy Kreme Mexico? Okay, in 2017, Javier Racaño, the CEO of Taco Holding, told to the press that they were planning to hold an IPO for Krispy Kreme Mexico in the Mexican stock market. All this by 2018. What is an IPO? An IPO, it's an initial public offering. It's like a launch of a company to the stock market. They didn't give details of the amount of actions that they were planning to sell, but until this day, Taco Holding is still being the only owner of Krispy Kreme Mexico. Okay, we think that Taco Holding is still going to be the only owner of Krispy Kreme Mexico for several years. Why? Krispy Kreme Mexico is growing so much. They have more than 200 restaurants operating along 15 Mexican cities, and we think that Krispy Kreme Mexico is the key to get market in the food industry. Taco Holding is trying to compete with Alsi. What is Alsi? Alsi is the biggest food group in our country, and Krispy Kreme Mexico is a great opportunity to gain market for Taco Holding.
Dunkin' Donuts is a coffee shop chain specialized in donuts. It was established in 1950 by William Rosenberg in Quincy, Massachusetts. In 1948, along with his business partner Stephen Sell, they opened the first restaurant called the Open Keto, and 2 years later they decided to change the name to the current one. By 1963, they already had 100 restaurants in the USA, and 16 years later, in 1979, they had 1,000 restaurants. 11 years later, in 1990,
they had 2,000 restaurants, and only 2 years later they opened another 1,000 restaurants, making it a total of 3,000. Dunkin' Donuts is owned along with Baskin Robbins by the company Dunkin' Brands Incorporation, previously known as Allied Domecq Quick Restaurants. In the year of 2015, they had more than 11,000 restaurants in 33 countries around the world.
Dunkin' Donuts arrived in 1909 thanks to Juan Beckman, who is the first director or the first leader for the brand in this country. When the company come to Mexico, opened 80 shops in the Mexican territory, but this is in a short time because later the franchise was sold to Jose Luis Gonzalez. This changed the name of the brand to Ice Cream and Donuts, but this in the same concept to introduce in the Mexican market. In 2008 was start a new process with a new company. This is with Capital Integral Group, who is led by Lorenzo Cue, and this is the winner of the process. In 2008, in the same year, the brand count with 124 sale points in the country. Because the last time who Dunkin' that had presence in the Mexican market is in July 2009. Due to difference of interest and problems with another brands in the same market, problems in the same negotiation, and this made Dunkin' Donuts to be absent for 6 years in Mexico. During the first years, the change were not big enough to locate losses, but with as the years went by, the consumptions of their products spoke by itself, thanks to amount of fame and popularity that they earned in the country. This helped to keep their business model in force. There was so much controversy about the return of the brand that it was supported by the music. They achieved total profits that many others brand look for this. In 2015, Dunkin' Donuts came back to business in Mexico and come back to the market. And the American coffee shop chain signed an agreement with the Sizzler Platter Company to open more than 100 units. The franchise agreement seeks the creation of 100 branches around the country, including Mexico City and the states of Hidalgo, Morelos, Jalisco, and Querétaro during the next years. In 2015, Dunkin' Donuts had more than 11,000 restaurants in 33 countries, including about 8,000 of them in Central and North America. The Dunkin' Donuts shops in Mexico had a wide range of hot drinks like espresso, cappuccino, lattes, and teas. They also serve all cold drinks as well as sandwich, croissants, and their main products, donuts. All of served quickly in nice place with a good location and a fair price. During these years, there was a significant demand in the country of what Dunkin' Donuts offers. Currently, in 2019, Dunkin' Donuts has increased its sales thanks to the use of the new technologies as well as the prefers of the millennials, which cover more than the 40% of consumption. Dunkin' Donuts has presence in 30 different countries where they sell an average of 30 coffee cups per second.
La utilidad que maneja una franquicia puede variar considerando varios factores que influyen en este aspecto. Lo redituable que puede llegar a ser el negocio es una de las más importantes, ya que la actividad de las ventas no es homogénea en todas las franquicias. Es difícil calcular también por los constantes cambios nacionales que puede llegar a tener la compañía. El que puedan adaptarse al ritmo de trabajo, ya que cada persona es nueva en el trabajo y tiene cierto tiempo en el cual puede congeniar con la labor o puede identificar que no es de su agrado. Sobre todo los valores. Buscamos la honestidad y el respeto, así como la responsabilidad, ya que son los que más ponemos en práctica con nuestros clientes y es vital tenerlos. En realidad, cada que una franquicia llega a un lugar nuevo, genera expectativas de venta bastante altas y también genera efectos sociales que en su mayoría son positivos. Realmente sí, el que tiene una constancia y disciplina en esta labor siempre es bien remunerado y tiende a subir de puesto. Aunque la mayoría de los empleados mantienen una similitud, siempre habrá alguien que la haga sobresalir.
Bueno, que yo recuerde, más o menos un año. Pues no lo sé, tener un empleo, pero pues si me facilita tenerlo más, pues que sea cerca de mi casa. Sí, así es. Pues yo pienso que vendemos un producto que está rico, la verdad, la gente le ha parecido algo excelente y con eso nos justificamos. Pues entre tantas cosas que no pagan muy bien, esa es una de las razones principales. Sí, está bien, no hay problema. En este caso, para lo que hacemos, sí, totalmente.
3 años. Andaba sin empleo. Si tienen mucha necesidad, sí, que me como las donas. Ah, es un poco aburrido. No, no es mi ambiente. No.
Casi un año. Me metieron unos conocidos. Yo creo que sí. Que es muy relajado, ya sabes, y sin estrés. Que me queda algo lejos, la verdad. Sí, está bien. Más o menos.
Sí, visito el lugar aproximadamente unos 2 días a la semana. Llevo siendo cliente unos 2 años y eso fue por una pareja que tuve. algo especial que me hace regresar ahí, yo creo que algo que me llama mucho, que me atrae es el olor que llega de las donas y del café, es algo que es una muy buena esencia. Claro, el servicio al cliente es algo muy indispensable. Si a una persona recibe un buen trato, una buena atención, le va a caer bien el lugar y por ende va a visitarlo más frecuentemente. Si las personas no tienen un buen trato o los tratan mal, pues obviamente no va a querer regresar. Eh, Tal vez puede ser porque la tienda nos ha dado mucho a conocer, pero sin duda yo siento que los precios llegan a ser un poco altos.
Sí, mira, las consumo de manera habitual, generalmente entre 2 y 3 veces al mes. Yo diría que aproximadamente 3 años que consumo en este establecimiento. Pues es el probar algo diferente. Al ser donas glaseadas tienen un sabor peculiar, diferente a otro tipo de donas. Sí, claro, porque en eso está parte de tu satisfacción como el consumidor. Yo, yo diría que sí ha sido bien recibido, sin embargo su precio es relativamente alto, por lo que no vende tanto.
Sí, algo. La verdad es de que sí. Pues desde que llegó la marca aquí a México, me puedo considerar un consumidor. Entonces, bueno, así que casi casi desde que llegó, ¿no? Ay, perdón, es que me llegó mi café. Perdón, sigamos. El sabor y la presentación de las donas, yo diría que es lo que más me gusta. Sí, la verdad es que siempre son muy amables aquí y aparte se me hace muy agradable el ambiente y la música, me hace sentir como cuando estoy en mi casa en días de no hacer nada. Está agradable, está cool, me gusta el concepto. Porque hay mucha competencia y debo ser honesto de que el pan mexicano es muy rico. Además hay que sentirlo mexicano, ¿sabes?
Es una pregunta complicada, ya que es una empresa a nivel nacional y tiene variantes. La disposición que tienen de aprender y el carácter, pues a veces no son muy empáticos. Buscamos sobre todo generar una confianza dentro de nuestras instalaciones para poder tener un equipo de trabajo eficiente y pues así también mejorar el servicio para la gente. El impacto social fue muy bueno desde que llegamos, ya que se percibe un ambiente más cómodo y muy seguro. La verdad es que aquí la gente tiene donde practicar, leer y esas actividades que te llegan a desestresar. Sí, siempre fomentamos la competencia sana y pues cada quien va ganándose el puesto.
6 meses. La necesidad para ganar dinero. Sí, te trata bien. Es bastante tranquilo, sí, bastante tranquilo. Clientes groseros, definitivamente. Sí y no.
Aproximadamente llevo 9 meses trabajando aquí. Lo que me hizo decidir fue el servicio y trato con el cliente. Sí, claro. El ambiente laboral, el horario, sí, sí.
Sí, llevo trabajando 5 meses y medio aquí. Bastante feliz, la verdad. No, necesitaba dinero para gastos universitarios. Mis papás siempre me apoyan, pero una fuente de ingresos extra pues no cae mal para la casa. No. El ambiente es agradable, la verdad me gusta mucho los compañeros que tengo y todo el personal, siento que nos llevamos bastante bien. Los horarios son muy flexibles, la verdad. Te ayudan mucho y más a los estudiantes, como que sí nos tienen mucha paciencia en ese aspecto. Pues no mucho, ¿eh? A veces no te llevas bien con todos los compañeros, pero pues te debes de sobrellevar por el trabajo para que todas las cosas salgan bien. No del todo, quizás solo un poco.
No, porque no hay algún local cerca. 2 años. La calidad de sus donas. Sí, porque al tener una atención satisfactoria, el consumidor siempre va a regresar. Es por la competencia que existe en este ramo de las cafeterías y que no hay muchos locales en la ciudad.
No realmente. 4 años aproximadamente, unos 3 y 4. Yo diría que el sabor de sus bebidas, y realmente considero que el sabor es lo que me llama. Mm, sí, porque a quién no le gusta que lo traten bien al momento de comprar. Pues yo diría que es la falta de locales y que no tienen publicidad.
In the following image, we can see the revenues comparison between Krispy Kreme and Dunkin' Donuts from 2006 to 2016 in thousands of dollars. As we can see, in 2006, Krispy Kreme was the company with more income, but from 2007 and to 2016, Dunkin' Donuts was the company with more income. This is probably because Dunkin' Brands is bigger than Krispy Kreme. In the second image, we can see the stock price comparison. We didn't obtain data from Dunkin' Donuts from 2006 to 2010, but from 2011, Dunkin' Donuts was the company with the highest prices.
I'm gonna talk about the reasons why Dunkin' Donuts run out of business here in Mexico. I think there's two principal reasons. The first one is that they didn't have enough establishments here in Mexico. Here in Mexico City, they only have 4 restaurants, and if they want to make competition with Krispy Kreme, they have to open more restaurants because Krispy Kreme have like a lot of restaurants here in the city. Like you can find a Krispy Kreme restaurant in the downtown, at the Liverpool stores, in every mall, and Dunkin' Donuts only had like one in Polanco, Mexico City, and another one next to Parque Hundido, and the other ones were like close to the state of Mexico. The second reason it is because they need to focus in the children, like in that market, because you can see like Krispy Kreme makes special donuts for not only for holidays. They make like right now they have like these DreamWorks movie donuts like Shrek, Kung Fu Panda, and Madagascar, and they also made an Avengers donuts, Spider-Man donuts, every kind of movie donuts. So if you think about it, the main market are the children. Like if a children see an Spider-Man donut or a Shrek donut, they're gonna tell their parents, hey mom, can I get a donut please? And the mom is gonna say yes, and maybe she buy like more donuts for the whole family. And Dunkin' Donuts didn't make that, so that's the two reasons because I think they didn't make it here in Mexico.
Well, after analyze both companies, Krispy Kreme and Dunkin' Donuts, we can be sure of two things. First, Krispy Kreme nowadays it's a bigger company and a more successful one than Dunkin' Donuts. Why? Because as we analyzed during this video, Krispy Kreme has been able to adapt themselves not only in the USA but all over the world. They have been very skillful at the moment of getting themselves in a foreign market. That's why they are present in a lot of countries like Puerto Rico, South Africa, Australia, London, Mexico. It's because their ability to adapt themselves and their company, their values, their product in the local markets. In contrast, Dunkin' Donuts hasn't been able to adapt their company in other countries because as we saw, they are a big success in the USA, but in the international scenario they are only they have not the same presence that Krispy Kreme has. And well, we can say that Krispy Kreme is all about family, is all about, both are about American values, but they represent different kind of American values. Dunkin' Donuts is the routine, is the efficiency, is the formality of the North Americans, and Krispy Kreme is that warm side, that part of the dreamers, you know, the family, the idea that if you are perseverant and you work hard, you will accomplish your dreams, just like Bernard Rudolph with his company Krispy Kreme more than 50 years ago. Well, that's will be all of this video and this analysis of both companies, store versus store, and we hope you enjoy it and you are now have more information and more insight in these two companies that not only are donuts, they are values, they are USA, and their presence in the world.